Hey everyone, welcome back to an episode of Create with Linda. So it is, guys, the day that I'm doing my Q&A. Okay, guys, so thank you. I want to say thank you so much for everybody that asked questions, who thought of questions, who tried to think of questions. Thank you to everybody. I'm so excited about doing this. I love answering questions and stuff. It's just fun to tell you guys about myself and stuff like that. And I just love it. So here we go. Let's get started. Now, I have a bunch here. Okay. All right. Here's one that asks me, do you regret sharing your experience going through with your weight loss surgery? I don't regret sharing my experience at all because it helps me to succeed at this by telling you guys and by, feeling a little bit accountable that I know that I have to do certain things, and it just makes it a lot easier for me and more. It's just more feasible for me to get it accomplished and to succeed when I know that I shared it with you guys and all of that. So let's see. Due to the fact that now that you have been lost friends over it. Now, I haven't lost friends over the weight loss surgery. I lost that one friend a couple of years ago, who decided that she didn't want to watch me make sweets and eat stuff that I shouldn't be eating when I have diabetes. And so she decided that she didn't want to watch my videos anymore, and she unsubscribed to my YouTube channel and all of that. And as my friend, she said she was still my friend, but to me, she unsubscribed from my life, because if you can't support me when I'm having a rough time, or if I slip, then how could you support me in good times? So but I don't regret anything. I really don't. I don't regret it, and that was her choice, and that's on her, and she has to live with that. So with that decision and all of that. So I'm fine with it. Like I said, it's fine. If that's how she wants it. She's not a true friend, and that's it. So good riddance. So no, I don't have regrets over that. Okay, or are you glad to know now that they were not the good friends that you thought they were? Yes, I'm very, very glad to know that, everybody, guys, and I really believe this in life, everybody shows who they really are eventually. You can only hide it for so long. You can only fake it, be phony, all this for so long. The true person in you comes out, whether it's good or it's bad. And I really, really believe that. So I'm glad that happened, and I found out the truth, and that's it. That's fine. Okay, let's see. Okay, she also wants to know. She's curious about what's going on with Jenny, with her living at an independent, in a group home and all that. I have no issue with answering that question. I'm always telling you guys about it and everything. She's on a list. She's at the top of the list for a group home. But the thing is that in the area that you're in, wherever you live, there's only a certain amount of group homes that are available that will fit the criteria that she needs to fit in. Now, there's a certain area that we're looking for, let's say 10 miles, wherever it is in our area. I don't want to go further than maybe 15, 20 minutes, stuff like that. So there's a lot that has to work to get her to fit into a group home. Number one, is it the right place for her? All around. Number two, do the adults that are there, are they going to challenge her as far as her personality, her her capabilities and all of that. That's very important, that she's around peers that are like herself, that are as functioning as her and not lower than functioning, because she has to strive to be better and to do better and to be more, to be independent in her mind and all of that. So there's so many things, is the placement, where we want her? Is there all women there? Is there any men that we don't want? There's a lot of things that go into it. So all of these things, let's say 20 things on the list, have to be checked off before we will allow her to go anywhere. And the thing is that that's really hard to come up with. It's hard for a place to become available like that, especially when there's only a certain amount of group homes, and they all have to fit the criteria. And also, she has to be approved from them too, which Jennifer will be, because she's like one of those people that they want. She's independent, she's vocal, she can take care of herself to a certain extent. She definitely needs help and all that stuff, but she's very high functioning. So they want her, you know what I mean? They really do. So it would be more likely that they would want her before we would say, okay, this place checks all the marks all the checks, whatever. Now the thing is that there's some game changers and there aren't game changers. There are game changers, and there are things that we could say, okay, maybe we could sway on this. Like, she wants her own room, but if she can't have her own room, as long as the room's really big and they're kind of separated, and she could still do her own thing in her room, her part of the room, and we would talk about that. So there's a lot of things that could be figured out. It doesn't have to be a perfect scenario. Of course, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. The first 3 or 4 things on our list are the most important, and then we'll decide what's the most important that we have to agree to before letting Jennifer go. So she's still on the list. I just spoke to her coordinator the other day, and she's on the top of the list, and they had to verify a couple more things. And so when one comes up, she'll call me and she'll say, we have this place, and so this is it. So it's just a big waiting game, guys. It could be 6 months, it could be 2 years. So whenever it happens, and that's it. So yes, that is still an option. That is still, like a 100% option, because, I don't want to ever expect my kids, my son and my daughter, to have to take Jennifer in and have the responsibility of her 100%. I definitely want them to always be there for her, to watch over her, to be in charge of her, being her well-being and all of that. That's a given, and they know that, and that's just the way that's going to be. But I would never expect them to take her in, because it's a big responsibility, and it's a very long responsibility, So we would never expect that, but my kids, they will, and they want to be. They want to be, take that role. Julie especially. So I'm not worried about that. And we also want to be able to choose where she's going to go. Hopefully, with time. Hopefully we'll be able to do that and know that she's in a good place and all of that. And then with Julie and Frankie overseeing, her whole situation. So yeah, so that's what that's about. Okay, so I hope that answered your question. Let me get to another question now. There's 2 or 3 more. Okay, yeah, let me see. Okay. Oh, somebody asked me why did we move back from Florida? So what happened was, we moved to Florida at a point in our lives when things were changing. My husband was at a job for 15 years. He didn't want to do that job anymore. He wanted to change. He needed a change. He decided to do truck driving. So the opportunity came up for us to move to Florida because of somebody he knew he was going to drive a truck for and everything. And he promised him all these things and, this money and this and that. And we had the opportunity to move to Florida, which was we thought would be a cheaper way of living, a better type of life, and all of that. Well, that's what we did, and to make a long story kind of short, he started the job with this person, and it was completely the opposite of what he said it would be. The money wasn't the same. He was out much longer than he should have. He didn't get what he needed. It was a struggle to get the guy to pay him. It was a struggle for everything was a struggle. So here we were in Florida. All we knew was basically one person. One of my really good close friends lived there. She actually found our apartment for us. She did everything, and she showed us where everything was, and thank God we had her. Tracy, you know who you are. I love you. You and Elliot was so amazing. Your whole family. Thank God for them, because they really saved us, okay? But what happened was we were there. The kids changed schools. It was, obviously we moved to a different state. It was very traumatic for all of my kids. It was very, very difficult. Actually, one of the hardest things we ever had to do in life was to move out of state. That was rough, guys. I can remember just my son being so upset. All he wanted to do, he kept crying, I want to go home, I want to go home. You know how that breaks a mother's heart, a parent's heart? Bad, really bad. But everybody acclimated. It took a while, and it did, and so we were there already. So he left that job. He couldn't work there. He worked at another job that didn't work out, and then so he got a job at a concrete company, which was pretty good money and pretty good hours and all of that. So he worked that. So we stayed in the apartment for like a year and a half. Then we bought our own house in Florida, this little dollhouse, which was the cutest thing. We were there about a year or two. The economy went down. He lost hours at his job, and everything just happened when that whole economy thing happened years and years ago. This was like 12, 15 years ago. And so we had to give up our house. We went and we rented a house. And so we ended up, living in Florida, staying in Florida and all that, really struggling, guys. Struggling, like to pay the rent, to have food, everything. It was bad. The economy went to shit. He ended up working the concrete company. I forget exactly what happened at the concrete company. I think, although he got laid off or something, and then he was working at a garbage company, and he was on the back of the truck, literally throwing the garbage, guys. He was throwing the garbage. He was in the best shape he was ever in. He made the minimum amount of money, and so my sister, who I rented her house up in New York for years before we moved to Florida, her house was being emptied again. So we discussed it. She really wanted me to move back up. We wanted to move back up to New York so bad for forever, and we just couldn't because we couldn't afford it or whatever. So we had a place to live. We worked that all out. So that's why we decided to cut our losses in Florida and just come back to New York. And let me tell you, it was rough. But it was the best decision we made to come back. Florida was beautiful. We lived in Clearwater, which was tropical. It was like going to a Caribbean island. When we first got there, I'll never forget the palm trees. I called my father, Dad, the palm tree, because my father was an avid Florida liver. He lived in Florida for so many years out of his life during, his life. So he loved Florida. So it was beautiful. But after the honeymoon stage, it's not so beautiful when you can't make money there. It was very difficult to make a lot of money there. It was just a struggle. So we decided to cut our losses and move back to New York. And I'm so glad we did, guys. We had issues. We moved back up into my sister's house. We had issues with her. We ended up moving out of there. This whole big thing, I'll tell you about that one day. I'm not going to get into that. But so we ended up just renting another house. But, we're very happy. We love New York. This is our home. And Florida was beautiful. It was an experience. And we could say, you know what? We lived there for 7 years. We experienced a lot. We saw beautiful Florida. But we weren't living the Florida life. We were living the hard life. We really were. You know, we enjoyed certain things. We never went to Disney, none of that stuff. But we struggled most of the time we were there. But it was beautiful, and we did experience it. And one thing I have to say about Florida before I stop with the Florida whole situation, if you live in Florida or if you're visiting Florida, go to the Ys there, because the YMCA's are like mini amusement parks. They're amazing. The YMCA saved us because we didn't have a pool where we were, and to go there, you know, with the waterfalls and the pools it was beautiful, guys, and it saved us during the summer. It saved us during the year. My kids loved it, and it really, really enriched our lives. And thank you, Tracy, again for turning us on to the YMCA, because that was your thing. And so yeah, that was great. So if you ever move to Florida, go to the Ys, guys. They're awesome. So that's why we moved back from Florida. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, let me see here. I got a couple from Jerry, my bestest friend on YouTube here. Well, she's more than a YouTube friend now, but yeah. Okay, I answered that one. Okay, let's see what this one is. Oh, how did you get Cooper and who named him? Okay, now we had a dog, Sophie, for 13 years. She was a pit lab mix that we got in Florida. She was the love of our life. She was the best dog ever, the sweetest, most compassionate, most affectionate, most unbelievable dog. I can't say any more good things about her. So Sophie was very healthy. You know, she had some issues with her like women issues. She had to get fixed because we didn't fix her. She had like bleeding issues and just had things that needed to be taken care of. So she had to have surgery and all that, and that was all taken care of. And then a couple of years later, as she got up in age, she was young. She was only 13. She started having issues with seizures. She started having seizures. She had a leg issue and all this, and we were trying to control her seizures. They were pretty controlled for a while. Then they completely got out of control, and Sophie became this dog that we didn't even know. The poor thing had seizures that affected her. The doctor thinks it was probably brain cancer or something like that, because she would have a seizure and she wouldn't know where she was. She didn't know who she was. She didn't know us. It was the most horrible, devastating thing that you could ever imagine watching your dog go through. Okay, it was devastating. So we made the decision to put Sophie down because we wanted to keep her alive so bad. Like I would have went to the ends of earth to keep her alive. I wouldn't care. I didn't care if I had to follow her around because she was walking into walls and all that. It wasn't about that. It wasn't about us. It was about her suffering, and she was suffering. So we had to make that hard decision to let her go and cross over the Rainbow Bridge because for her. So when we had to do that, of course, we were devastated. All of us didn't really want another dog right away or anything like that. But then yet we did, you know, so we went, it was, I don't know, how long was it before we got Cooper? It was only 3 or 4 months, I think. Sophie died in November. I think we got Cooper in January. Something like that. January, February, something like that. We had gone to one of those pet things, North Shore Pet. You know, they have like where they go like to the pet stores and they bring the truck and they have all the dogs and everything else. And we went, and Julie was going there with her friend. And so we were at the store, we were at Walmart, and I called her and I said, are you still at the place? And she's like, yeah, it was right there in the same parking lot, the other parking lot. So we went over there, guys. They opened up the truck, and there was this little dog. There was 3, 4, 5 dogs, adorable dogs, that we were like, oh my God, look at these dogs. And he was the only pit bull mix there. Well, when we saw him as a puppy, we were like, oh my God, he was so cute. but nobody was really looking at him, and it was because he had pit in him. People, we even were talking about how he was a pit, and they weren't really interested in that. And I was like, oh my God, this dog, he was adorable. But we should have known, because he was ripping up his wee wee pad and chewing on it, and wrestling himself and just having a ball. He was so adorable, guys. And so we were looking at him. We were just glancing over at the other dogs, and we went in there. We held a couple of the other ones, not really picking him or anything. And then we were there, and we were like, you know what? Julie's like, let's go. Let's pick up. Let's go. See him. But we went in there. We went into the truck. Julie held him first, and he was all kinds of antsy with Julie, and he was, licking her and like jumping around, and he wouldn't stay still. And I'm like, let me have him. I took him, guys. He laid in I have pictures. He laid in my chest, and he just sat there. And he laid his head on my chest, and he's looking up at me, licking my face. He just cuddled into my body, like as if to say, I'm home. I'm home, Mom. And my heart melted. And I don't know if I just needed that from the pain that I was so heartbroken for Sophie. He would never have replaced Sophie, but he definitely helped my heart heal. And so I said to my husband, I'm sorry, but this is him. I sent him a picture, and I said, I need him. Because he always says to me, after we got him and he was so bad and everything, he's like, I need him. I need him, right? You need him? And guys, I'm going to try to find that picture while I'm on the phone with you. While I'm on the video with you. Guys, he was the most adorablest thing. And let me tell you something. We just fell in love with him. But he... Wait 1 second. Let me find that. He was a lunatic, okay? The cutest thing you could ever see, but so cute. And we wanted to name him, what do we want to name him? Ralph, right? Hubby and I wanted to name him Ralphie or Ralph. And Julie was such an influence in everything. And she wanted Cooper. So we liked Cooper. We thought Cooper was what?
See how much pull I have.
Yeah, see how much pull he has, he says, Bill. We liked Cooper, but it wasn't our favorite name. But of course we let Julie pick the name, and Cooper was his name. And so that's why basically she said we all agreed to it. Yes, we did all agree to it with her pushing. So yes, we did name him Cooper, and it was Julie's name. So there. So that's how we named Cooper. But I'm going to keep looking here to find that picture, because I know I have it, and of course I see it every time I don't want to see it, but when I'm looking for it, it's going to be difficult, but I'll find it. It's in here. I know it is. So that's how we got Cooper. He was hard to train. In fact, we were trying to potty train him, and it was difficult, and I was having a really big struggle, and Bill was working, and we were doing the wee-wee pad thing and he'd go outside, he'd come in, and he'd pee in the house. But he was very good with his wee-wee pads. We trained him on the wee-wee pads, and then we eventually got him to go outside. But what happened was Bill, he had got laid off of work, and he was home, and I was like, because he took over his potty training, and he got him trained like almost immediately outside. So when he came, it was like a godsend. He came home and he trained him good, and we were able to get him trained. And then, knock on wood, he's housebroken, very, very good housebroken. Never had an accident after that. He was just really, really, really trained well. So that was really a good thing. But, he's crazy. He's a crazy guy. We didn't know how big he was going to be. Like, we never even thought to say, well, we knew what kind of dog he was, kind of. We weren't really sure of he's a mountain cur, pit mix. We never heard of a mountain cur. And then afterwards, when we looked up what a mountain cur was, we saw that that they're working dogs. Years ago, they would work for their food and work for their this and that, and they're huge, like strong, big dogs. Who would have ever thought to look at that? Like maybe we should have looked at that, Googled it and said, what is a mountain cur going to be? No, he was just so cute. We didn't even care. He was a little puppy. We didn't even think about what he was going to be when he got bigger, and we didn't even care. We didn't even care at that point. We really didn't. And there he was, guys, and just so cute. And you know what? He's a handful. He really is. But he's adorable, and he's affectionate and loving, so smart, and we love him. And he really has, brought joy into our lives and really filled our hearts. And I think he really got us through from losing Sophie. Sophie is a dog that we'll never ever forget, and will always have the number one special place in our heart. We have a whole shrine of her I've showed you guys, and all of that. But unfortunately, it was the most. I mean, other than losing, your blood family members, it was the worst feeling that I've ever felt in my life. But it gives us comfort to know that she's up there in heaven, and she's running free and in no pain and just loving life up there, and we miss her and love her so much. But yes, so that's how we got Cooper Butt, is what we call him. So I'm going to keep looking here while I'm talking to you guys. Let me see. It's got to be here. I know it is. I see it all the time. I have it all the time. If I can't find it, then I will insert it. And I hope I do that, because a lot of times I say, I'm going to insert this, I'm going to insert that, and I forget. And because I never do it maliciously, guys. I'm just very forgetful. Very, very forgetful. Okay, so let me think. There's a question that I'm trying to remember as I'm sitting here that Jerry had asked to ask. Where are you? Because if I go off it, then I'm going to have to start all over again, and I'm not going to do that because I don't have time for that. Where are you? Where are you? Yeah. All right, guys, so here it is. Here's this one. This is the one that I was just telling you about. There it is. When he was a little, this is when we got him, when we found him, January 2020. That's when I was holding him. Okay, that's that one. And then there's another one. Where is it? Where is it? Oh my God, guys, look at this picture of him. Could you die right now? Look at him. The cutest thing you've ever seen. Look at him. And that's what he looks like today, but just huge, right? The cutest thing ever, ever, ever. That's my Koopy Butt. Yes, so that was the question. that was the answer to that. That was a long one. Okay, now, I have a question from Jerry Ellen that she asked me, have I ever got lost in a public place? Well, let me tell you. I have a few times, nothing major or anything like that, but something really funny was I think it was last year or something, my husband and I were out, we were somewhere, and I went into the bathroom, and what happened, Atlantic City, just recently, Atlantic City. We went to Atlantic City, and I went into the bathroom, and after I went to the bathroom, I came out, and what happened was I came out a different door. So I come out of the bathroom, and I'm like, what the hell? Billy was right here at the door. You know, Billy was waiting outside for me. I'm like, where the hell is he? And I'm looking around, and I'm like, oh my God, what the hell did I do? Like I panicked. Like I was really panicking. So what did I do? I think I went back.
You called me.
Oh, I called him on the phone, and then he found
How
me.
are you?
Yeah, he found me. But it was literally like a minute or two. But you know when you get that panicky feeling, like I felt like I was like I didn't know who the hell I was, where I was. It was very, very scary. That was really it. I mean, I've been, in younger years, you get, I've gotten lost in driving in a car, like driving, I've gotten lost, and that was kind of panicky. I was going on a highway on a road that I had driven constantly, and I took the wrong road, and then I just kept going straight and straight and straight, because I had like phobias of driving. I had real bad phobias like in my early 20s. And so I just kept going straight. And then it took me like about a roundabout. And then it took me right back to the same road that I came from. So I was like, ugh. And then I remember talking to one of my uncles, my father's brother, who I had lived with at the time. And he had said to me, because I told him I got lost, and he said, Linda, if you ever get lost, number one, whenever you go out, make sure you always have a full tank of gas, just so you never have to worry about running out of gas if you get lost most of the time. And he said, just sit and breathe and relax, and you'll find your way. He said that to me. As long as you have a full tank of gas, don't worry. And after that, I never worried anymore. Like, I always made sure I had a full tank of gas. And okay, if I get lost, I'll find my way back. And, oh, yeah, I got lost in Westchester. I've got lost before. And my husband had to help me get home and, on the phone and all that. So, yeah, stuff like that. But, yeah. I think that happens to everybody in life. People, you get lost at one time or another, I would think. All right, let me go to one more. There's a couple more questions here from her. Do I have a secret box of objects in my room? Yes, I do. But it's not really a secret. But there's just stuff in there from like my teenage years, like poems that I used to write to my old boyfriend, and just, nostalgic things that, like, you don't want anybody to see, or you did when you were a teenager, and all of that, and just things that are important to me. Yes, I do. I do have a box like that up, and that's a really good question, Jer. Really good question. And I think there's one more question from her. Something about what? A movie that I watched that the ending, I didn't believe that the ending was the ending. I don't know. Like, there's so many movies that I've watched that I've had that I've been like, are you kidding me? That just happened. I just can't pinpoint one. There's so many great movies out there. Love movies. Oh, also she asked, what show have I binge watched? Wait. Wait a minute. What is the longest time you binge watch something? I don't know what she means. Do you mean the longest time? Maybe I binge watched a show. I think it was Dexter. We binge watched. Whatever shows we really like. Heartland, all those shows, Below Deck. We watch all, we binge watch, especially during the pandemic. What did we watch during the pandemic? Oh, what's that crazy show with the drug dealer? With what's his face? The drug dealer show. Remember, they were the husband and wife. You know which one I'm talking. What?
Breaking Bad?
Oh no, Breaking Bad. Yeah, Breaking Bad was one of them too. That was years ago. That was an amazing show we binge watched. No, it just ended a couple of. We watched it like 3 or 4 months ago.
I don't remember. Tell me about the show more.
Remember it was with the husband and the wife and the cartel guy. For-
I know what show you're talking
oh my God! Now we're not gonna remember. Anyway, hopefully he'll remember before I go here. Otherwise, I'll insert it somewhere. I'll write it
It's
somewhere.
bother me now.
Look it up.
Look it up.
When we like a show, guys, and it's on, and like that during the pandemic, we binge watch so many shows. Just amazing on Netflix and on, Hulu and just on whatever. I can't.
Queen of the South is one.
We have to watch that. So, oh no, we did watch that. Queen of the South. That's, oh my God, Jerry. Yes, that's the one. Queen of the South. That was a shocking ending. It was really shocking, and we were like, holy crap, did that really just happen? We kind of had a feeling, but it was really shocking. Queen of the South. If you haven't seen that, guys, go check that out. What was that, on Netflix?
Yeah.
Netflix. You got to check that series out. And then the other one is with, it was with
Looking it up.
Jason Bateman. Jerry, you know which one I'm talking about.
Drug dealer series of Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman and Ozark. We binge watch Ozark. Go see Ozark, guys. Check that out. Such a great series too. We just love these series. They're so great. It's so much fun to binge watch and everything. And so I binge watch a lot of shows. That new show that I'm watching now, I don't even remember it now, but I'll remember it at some point and let you know. It's on hiatus right now. I forgot. But there's a lot of great shows out there. All right, guys. So that's all my questions that I had. I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. I hope I answered all your questions that you wanted to know and anything. And if you ever have another question that you want me to answer, just let me know and I'll answer it on one of my What's for Dinners or one of my whatever. So yes, so excited, guys. Thank you so much for this interest in this. I had so much fun doing this. There's another video that's going to be coming out today. I'm not going to tell you. It's a surprise video that I'm going to be doing a series now with about myself and everything, and I'll let you guys know. You'll see that later before the What's for Dinner. All right, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe. It's just a little button. Hit the subscribe button so my channel can grow and I can continue to do better things for you guys and just really put out content that you guys enjoy and love. And I so appreciate it. I hope you know that. Don't forget to the notification button with the bell so you guys can be notified every time I upload a new video. Like, comment, share, and all that. And I will see you on the next video. Bye. Thanks for always being here and supporting me, guys. Create with Linda. I love you guys. See you on the next one. Bye.